Ito ang Broad Streamcast Communicators, ang naiiba at kakaibang plataforma sa digital broadcast. Mula Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao hanggang sa iba't ibang dako ng mundo. Broad Streamcast Communicators, ang sandigan ng sambayanan mula sa walang labis at walang kulang na pagbabalita, paglilingkod, maglalahad ng mga mapagbuong komentaryo at usaping pambayan para sa kapakanan ng karamihan. Broad Streamcast Communicators, tuwirang maglilingkod ngayon hanggang sa susunod na henerasyon. Ang sinumang lingkod bayan ay may tungkulin na pinanumpaan. Nanumpa na maglilingkod ng buong puso batay sa tanggapan na kanyang pamumunuan. Bago ang lahat, mamamayan muna. Ito ang palatuntunang maglalahad ng mga tuwirang impormasyon upang magsilbing gabay ng ating mga nanunungkulan saan mang tanggapan ng pamahalaan para sa kapakanan ng mamamayan. Bago ang lahat, mamamayan muna. Maglalatag ng mga naangkop na payo para sa lahat ng mamamayan na umaasam ng tunay na pagbabago at kaginhawahan sa buhay. Bago ang lahat, mamamayan muna. At ngayon, narito ang inyong lingkod, Cora Alma de Leon.
Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. Today is Tuesday and once again, we have bago ang lahat, mamamayan muna. Every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Please like and share our live video and of course our FB page, Broad Streamcast Communicators. Follow me also on Facebook at Corazon Alma de Leon, or you may contact me via cell phone 0918-912-3546. Hinihintay pa natin ang ating kasamang si Dr. Raymond Arcega at gusto kong i-anunsyo that this month of November, we will be interviewing mga educators. Talagang Dr. Raymond Arcega decided that this will be also our anniversary month. And we feel that this should be a good opportunity to invite the educators who are members of the Association of City and Community Colleges and Universities in the Philippines. Sisimulan natin ang programa sapagkat ayaw natin masayang ang oras sa ating prayer for the nation. Lord, let me be the change I want to see, to do with strength and wisdom all that needs to be done, and become the hope that I can be. Set me free from my fears and hesitations. Grant me the courage and humility. Fill me with spirit to face the challenge and start the change I long to see. Even if I'm not the light, I can be the spark in faith, service, and communion. Let us start the change we want to see, the change that begins in me. At dahil ako'y nagsilbi sa pamahalaan for 34 years, nais kong manumbalik yung paniniwala sa panunumpa sa watawat. Ako ay Pilipino, buong katapatang nanunumpa sa watawat ng Pilipinas at sa bansang kanyang sinasagisag, na may dangal, katarungan at kalayaan na pinakikilos ng sabay ng makadiyos, makakalikasan, makatao at makabansa. Habang hinihintay natin si Dr. Raymond Arcega, ay babasahin ko na yung panunumpa ng kawani ng gobyerno. Ako'y kawani ng gobyerno, tungkulin ko ang maglingkod ng tapat at mahusay. Dahil dito, ako'y papasok ng maaga at magtatrabaho ng lampas na takdang oras kung kinakailangan. Magsisilbi ako ng magalang at mabilis sa lahat ng nangangailangan. Pangangalagaan ko ang mga gamit, kasangkapan at iba pang pag-aari ng pamahalaan. Pantay at makatarungan ang pakikitungo ko sa mga lumalapit sa aming tanggapan. Magsasalita ako laban sa katiwalian at pagsasamantala, hindi ko gagamitin ang aking panunungkulan sa sarili kong kapakanan. Hindi ako hingi na o tatanggap ng suhol. Sisikapin kong madagdagan ang aking talino at kakayahan upang ang antas ng paglilingkod sa bayan ay patuloy na maitaas. Sapagat ako isang kawani ng gobyerno at tungkulin kong maglingkod ng tapat at mahusay sa bayan ko at sa panahon ito, ako at ang aking mga kapwa kawani ay kailangan tungo sa isang maunlad, masagana at mapayapang Pilipinas. Sa harap ninyong lahat, ako'y taus-pusong nanunumpa. Bukod dito ay nagpadala din ng mensahe si retired Chief Justice Hilarion Davide Jr. na babasahin ko. Today, Tuesday, the 2nd of November, we join the Christendom in celebrating All Souls Day. We open our hearts in loving prayers for our departed ones. Our Savior, Jesus Christ, gives this assurance. Do not let your hearts be troubled. In my Father's house there are many rooms. Otherwise, I would not have told you I am going to prepare a place for you. I will come again to take you to me, so that where I am, you also may be. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. We love our dear departed ones, while their passing away caused us pain and sorrow, yet their love left for us beautiful memories we shall forever cherish. May their souls enjoy eternal peace in God's home and loving presence, and we implore them to pray to Almighty God to bless us with final victory against COVID. Amen. At katulad ng ating ginagawa, patutugtugin natin ang kanta natin na Pilipino.
Ang Pilipino, naiiba, natatangi. Alamin ang mga ginintuang katangian ng ating dakilang lahi.
Iba-ibang ating pinagmulahan, sa iisang bayang sinilangan. Mga islang biyaya sa pinagpala, likha ng isang Diyos o bathala. Tinataglay ang dakilang yaman, sa atin binigay ang perlas ng silangan. Gintong lupa't karagatan, kay gandang kalikasan, ito'y sasagipin pangangalagaan.
Yan ang Pilipino, mapalad ang lahing ito, likas ang talino, kailangan ng mundo ang Pilipino. Mapagmahal ang lahi ko, may tapang malasakit, kaming mga Pilipino. Mapalad ang lahing ito, likas ang talino, payabunin natin to, ang Pilipino. Mapagmahal ang lahi ko, masipag malikhain, yan ang Pilipino. Halo-halong man ang ating tipi, iisa pa rin ang ating lahi.
Katotohanan ng kalooban, ating isabuhay. Ako, ikaw, tayo'y magmahalan.
Yan ang Pilipino, mapalad ang lahing ito, likas ang talino, kailangan ng mundo ang Pilipino. Mapagmahal lahing ito, likas ang talino, payabungin natin ko ang Pilipino. Mapagmahal ang lahi ko, masipag malikhain, yan ang Pilipino. Mapalad ang lahing ito, likas ang talino, kailangan namin ito, ang Pilipino. Mapagmahal ang lahi ko, ay dapat malasakit, kaming mga Pilipino. Likas ang talino, payabungin natin to, ang Pilipino. Isa ang lahi, halo-halo man ang libig, yan ang Pilipino.
Thank you very much, Ginang Sonia Rocco, sa pagbibigay ng pagkakataon na pamakanta natin sa programang ito, ang Yan ang Pilipino. Makita niyo po, meron akong St. Michael dito. Galing po ito kay Miss Sonia Rocco. I suppose because of the birth anniversary ng kanyang husband, Raul Rocco, ay nagpadala po siya ng santo na ito na talaga namang napaka-important itong St. Michael na ito. Pero in the meantime, habang naghihintay tayo, meron akong pong babasahin na poems na palagay ko will capture bakit natin ginagawa ito. Ang una itong sinabi ko na Unless Someone Cares, dedicated to Dick and Kate Gordon. I don't think our communities will ever be clean and green unless someone cares. I don't believe our government will be good, just and honest unless someone cares. I don't expect our leaders to be morally upright and politically sensitive unless someone cares. I don't expect to better our lives for our poor and oppressed people unless someone cares. I don't have the faith that we face a brighter future unless someone cares. I don't feel we will ever realize our dreams and aspirations unless someone cares. I don't know if we will all live our sense of purpose to build a better world unless someone cares. That someone is us, that someone is you and me, that someone is everybody, for we all must care. And the second poem na gusto ko din basahin has to do with our own perception about life. Ang tanong ko dito ay nasaan ang araw? Matagal ko nang inasahan ang pagsikat ng araw. Matagal ko nang inasam-asam ang paglaho ng dilim. Ngunit bakit ganito ang buhay? Bakit ganito ang damdamin? Ang puso ay nagtatanong, ang diwa ay nagtataka, nasaan ang araw? Ang araw pala ay nasa puso, ang araw pala ay nasa kaluluwa ng bala na. Kung ang puso ay puno ng pagmamahal, hindi na kailangang itanong pa nasaan ang araw. Kung ang kaluluwa ay puno ng katotohanan, hindi na kailangang itanong pa nasaan ang araw. Sa isip, sa salita at sa gawa, nakapaloob ang araw. Kailanman ay walang kadiliman, sa tuwa, katotohanan at pagmamahalan. Salamat sa puong may kapal, may kasagutan na ang tanong kong nasaan ang araw. Sinulat ko din ito about Geneva this time around. This was written, I remember, ang date na to ay May 1999. Kaya ako naman babasahin ito kasi significant ito na I first saw Geneva in 1963 when as a tourist I saw its beauty and grandeur, when I experienced a caring hotelier who put us in a salon because we arrived a day early. I saw Geneva again in 1986, this time as an officer of the International Federation of Social Workers representing Asia and Pacific. We discussed the work program, towards guiding principles for social workers. It was in this trip when we took a walking tour of Bern and was fascinated at the prospect of a similar endeavor in Manila. I saw Geneva again in 1995 as head of the Philippine delegation to the Child Rights Committee. We were a diverse group of 13, all representing particular interests, but motivated to put children's interests first, for our concern for them should be non negotiable. This time, Geneva in 1999 is venue to the International Civil Service Commission deliberation, where I serve as member. Geneva continues to be a marvel. 36, 36 years later, a fascinating city to the young and old. Geneva, I came, I saw, you've conquered me this time around. Written May 4th, 1999. As we continue to endeavor to read as much of what I have honoring in a way the heroes in government, I want to mention a material I wrote also about Ambassador Lilia Bautista in Geneva. As Undersecretary of Trade and Industry, a lawyer with expertise in business management, she led the DTI on GATT, and WTO matters. She provided substance in politics in time of economic crisis. She spoke of working in passionate anonymity, resulting into the much sought after award as one of the 10 outstanding women in nation building. Her appointment to Geneva 6 years ago was well received. Geneva, the venue of no less than 7,000 meetings from issues of human rights, trade and development, intellectual property, social, cultural, and political concerns, center for international exchange of the ideological views and perspectives. She leaves Geneva after completing her term of office. From her staff, LRB will always be remembered as L, their leader, R, responsive to the B, betterment of Philippine mission to the United States in Geneva. She organized her team to celebrate the centennial. She brought the professionals, the migrant workers within and around Geneva to work together in concert for that fitting celebration of 100 years of independence. She leaves her post ever mindful that she brought the Philippines to its greatest height in the community of nations. Thank you, Ambassador Lilia R. Bautista. Thank you for being part of my visit to Geneva. Lilia R. Bautista, the lawyer, Lilia R. Bautista, the expert in business management, Lilia R. Bautista, the woman of distinction, Lilia R. Bautista, our permanent representative of the Philippine mission to the United Nations in Geneva. Indeed, we can be proudly Philippines. This was written in April 19, 1999. And moving on, also celebrating Rosalinda V. Terona. I first met R.V. Terona in Jakarta in 1976 in an ASEAN meeting for ministers responsible for social welfare. As minister counselor, she provided our delegation the necessary support to ensure a meaningful participation. I saw her then as a hardworking diplomat, assertive but focused, thus at times misunderstood, a woman ambassador of substance. The very day that we arrived, she briefed us on the details of the meeting. She was thorough, concise, precise, and very professional indeed, a woman of substance. 11 years later, in 1987, we crossed paths again, this time in my office, anticipating her posting in Geneva. During the 10-year interval, she served in Australia, India, Myanmar, and San Francisco. She served as ambassador of Thailand and Vietnam, as well as in both places. I saw her work defining to me in simple terms what economic diplomacy is all about. She has clarity of vision of what an ambassador ought to do, whether in bilateral or multilateral issues. To me, she is a woman ambassador of substance. While in Myanmar, I learned that she took painting lessons, perhaps to imbibe the country's visual arts. Some of her works I saw in our embassy in Vietnam. Indeed, a woman ambassador of substance. Now, in our home office as Assistant Secretary for the United Nations and other international organizations, she represented the Philippines in the meetings of the UN Commission on Human Rights. She brought me along to the various women's causes. I met Angela King, the UN Special Advisor on Gender Issues. I heard King talk on the traffic of women and young girls. I saw how impassioned RVT is on the issues, how actively she participated on these discussion groups. Truly a woman ambassador of substance. Covadis Rosalinda Vitirona, you deserve to be in Geneva or Brussels for our multilateral concerns. You deserve to be in China for our bilateral concerns. I salute you. I celebrate you, Rosalinda Vitirona, a woman ambassador of substance. Written on April 20, 1999. Moving on, I also wrote about human rights and Aurora and Ricinia. It was in Geneva where I spent some time with Aurora and Ricinia, chairman of the Commission on Human Rights. Whether shopping at the flea market on a chilling Saturday, Sunday lunch at the popular Cuisine Philippines, or breakfast at the Brasserie of Royal Manotel, Aurora and Ricinia is her name, suggests is an advocate, a negotiator on the rights of Filipinos. She advocates for sense of fairness and justice in her commission. She negotiates in international fora on issues and concerns which will benefit the Philippines. As espoused in the International Convention on Human Rights, she feels human rights, among others, to be free from discrimination. She upholds the tenet of equal rights of women and men to the enjoyment of all uh, civil, cultural, economic, political, and social rights. Chairman Aurora Enricina epitomizes the new Filipina, who has the capacity to plan and hold her commission to ensure the protection of human rights at the more vulnerable sectors of Philippine society, whether women, children, and elderly, detainees and prisoners, peasant folks, indigent peoples, cultural communities. More power to you, Chairman Resina. Human rights had found a new meaning to us with you at the helm of the Constitutional Commission. We walk your path. Another person who was also in Geneva at the time was Manny Dia in Geneva. I wrote, I first met Manny at UP in the 60s. We worked in a research project with the UP Community Development Research Council. I never saw him again after graduation in 1962. I heard, though, that after his stint at the Asian Labor Education Center, he moved to Geneva to work with the International Labor Organization. It is amazing how, after more than 35 years, we would reconnect in Geneva. He has since retired from ILO. He now does consultancy work, which brings him around the world, including Manila. Invited me to dinner to meet his family. I didn't know what to expect. I do know that, like other friends, it is like time stood still. There's a lot of catching up. There's joy, truth, and love in their home. There's passion in their work, in their thoughts, in their words, in their acts. It is almost like the conversations with God, that uncommon dialogue, a synthesis and reflection of that book, Come Before Winter and Share My Hope. It is an answer to my search for Emmanuel. Meron din akong sinulat na remembering Tocaya Justice Corazon Juliano Agrava. I still recall that fateful Wednesday morning when I saw you at the United Doctors Medical Center, Justice Corazon Juliano Agrava, the epitome of strength and courage, advocate of worthy causes, particularly of children, sleeping like a child, oblivious of the world outside, but suffering inside, facing the reality of death. I whispered to you that it was time to go, to let go, that you had already done more than enough for others, that it was time to take care of yourself and heed the call of the great maker. In 2 hours' time, I received the call that you were gone. I knew then that you heard me and that it was like conversing with God. I saw lots of people, great and small, in your wake. How appropriate that the vigil brought all your friends together. In the necrological services, I read my open letter to you. I revealed that I was then named after you by my father, that others who did not understand your ways called you justice aggravation. I know every time you call me at the wee hours of the morning, it was always TAPS. Your concern for TAPS was constant. TAPS was your tahanan. TAPS was your outreach. TAPS was your program. TAPS was your service to people in humanity. In remembering you, Tokaya, to me, you will always be tops. Our deep friendship knew no bounds. I stood by you, you stood by me, I stood for you, you stood for me. Our tries at McDonald's, Pizza Hut, and Chowking reflected this feeling of oneness of purpose. Now that you are gone, I made covenant to pursue your causes, to be ever vigilant for the rights of children, to understand, to constantly put my heart for others. Justice Corazon Juliano Agrava, in my book of life, you are tops. Babasahin ko na ngayon ang mga nag-live sa atin. In the meantime, habang wala pa yung ating hinihintay. Um, okay. Babasahin ko na itong mga ang guest natin ay hindi pa dumarating. Hinihintay natin pero ang mga dumating na si Mayor Len. Sorry wala pa si ano eh. Wala pa si Dr. Arcega pero pwede na nating interviewin kayo, no? Both of you will join us, Mayor Len and
Yes po.
Melis,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes.
Wow! I'm
Hello.
really naman honored. I'm really honored, no? Pero babasahin ko muna yung mga nanonood sa akin para malaman yung hindi lang naman ako na nandito sa programang ito. Ang mga sumusunod ay nag-live na dito. Simulan natin kay Maricel Florel de Labsang. Magandang buhay po sa inyo. Si Joseph Robles. Hello po, good afternoon. Tito Oliveros. Hello po, good afternoon. Mabel Roa, good afternoon po. And guest, looking forward to the discussion with education this month. Talagang November ay talagang education ang tatalakayin natin. And Angelica Paz, Blessed All Souls Day, Tuesday. Secretary Cora, wala pa si Dr. Raymond Arcega, pero more power and may God guide you always. Evelyn Roda from Maryland, good afternoon. Jinky Bueno, Ilyut, mapagpalang araw po, Ma'am Cora and guests. And of course, Manuel Corpus, watching Manuel Corpus, watching twice already, the already interesting program for Mama Mayan. Okay. And then, of course, Sonia Rocco, listening and watching. Cora, great gesture, remembering. And then, Presi Bombeta, good afternoon sa lahat. And, of course, nabansin ko na si Manuel Corpus na padadalaw kita kibembeng sa Thursday. Wendy Rebolido Jimenez, good afternoon. So, ngayon, special tayo because meron tayong guest na husband and wife team. Baka kaya hindi doon dumating si Raymond dahil kalabisan na siya dahil andito na si Mayor Len. You know, na-mention ko kay Melissa noon na ang classmate ko si Charito Oreta, no? Classmate ko sa Merinol, Charito Oreta, na nandun sa ngayon nasa Boston. Hindi na namin nakita after she left Merinol. Pero excited ako na for the first time, meron tayong mayor na ang kasama ay somebody who heads also the school kasi education ang ating focus dito, no? At natutuwa ako na kaya sabi ni Sonia Rocco, hello Mayor Len and Melissa. O, ginreet na kayo ni Sonia, ha? Oo. So, dahil ang guest natin si Melissa, pero siyempre, baliktad ito ngayon, no? Ang support si Mayor Len. Pero dahil doon, unahin kong interviewin si Mayor Len. Dahil ang majority of the question na tatanungin ay tungkol sa education. Mayor Len, ano ang nakikita mo ngayon sa politika na nangyari sa atin? How long have you been mayor of Malabon? Kano katagal ka na mayor?
Yes, Ma'am Cora. Actually, I have been mayor for 9 years already.
Yeah. And then,
so my
tapos ka na
uncle
this
died.
time.
I was vice mayor. But this is my last term. So may extra 1 year ko kasi I took the mayorship 2012. So
So
my
may
last
dagdag
term.
ng 1 year.
Yes, may dagdag po akong 1 year kasi yung dating mayor, yung uncle ko, si Mayor Tito, passed away. And I was the vice mayor.
Aha.
Opo.
So parang ang dagdag mo during the year 2024, ganun ba? Or
No,
just this year?
dumagdag 2012.
2022.
2012. Ano po?
Aha.
2012, 2013 election. So I became mayor 2012 because the mayor passed away.
Yes.
So,
Plus
yun po.
9 years. Plus 9 years, 2021.
No,
Ganon?
9 years na po
Ganon
ngayon.
ang
So by
addition.
next year, 10th year. Ano po?
So hindi ka natatakbo. Hindi ka natatakbo.
Hindi na po.
Tatakbo ka.
Tapos na po.
Hindi na.
Hindi na po.
So anong tatakbuhan mo?
Wala na po.
Ayaw mo nang tumakbo? Gusto mo maglakad na
Ano
lang?
po? Baka po. Ano muna? Out
Pahinga.
of public service, tutulong na lang po muna. Private
Oo.
citizen po muna.
Hindi na ka naman pwedeng maging private citizen. You already have done your job and I think no one becomes a private citizen after serving public life. Diba? You
Opo,
really
opo.
never retire. You just put on new tires, no? Mayor?
Yes.
Anyway, punta naman tayo kay Melissa. How did you become the president of your college? No? Kasi ang nilagay sa akin diyan, Chef Melissa Oreta, ganun ba yung nabasa ko? Is that correct?
Yes,
So
I'm
ang training mo,
chef.
tama?
I was trained
So-
as I took up hotel and restaurant management. And
Yes,
then
oo.
but I worked as a chef. And then I headed
Uh-huh.
a culinary school. I was the school administrator. And I think that's when my love affair with the academe started. When I
okay.
was the lead for an academic institution.
Very, very interesting kasi sa totoo lang, ang dami na nagkuha ng mga hotel and restaurant. But ideally, ang gusto nila maging chef. And maraming nag-aral abroad. I know somebody who even nabisita ko pa sa Geneva dahil maraming schools dun sa Switzerland. Did you also go to Switzerland? Nagpunta ka rin ba
Yes
doon?
po. Opo.
Saan ka doon? Saan ka sa Switzerland nagpunta? School.
Sa Le Roche po. Eco Le Roche.
Saan yung lugar? Anong lugar sa Switzerland?
Sa may valley, malapit po sa Crans Montana, sa parang winter resort.
Winter resort. Aha.
Mm-mm.
So, and then nagkaroon din kayo ng parang nagkaroon ka ng school dito or you run a restaurant. Meron kayong ding restaurant. Ganun ba?
I started
Hindi.
with restaurants and then 2009 I joined Center for Culinary Arts Manila in Katipunan.
Aha. Center for Culinary Arts, CCA.
Yes,
Diba? Iba
opo.
pa yun.
Yun po, CCA Manila. I became their
Oh,
school and program director.
Okay. Interesting,
Oo.
interesting. No. Meanwhile, at that time, Mayor was Mayor Len during that period? Or what was he doing?
He was my,
Vice Mayor ako nun.
we just started dating the time.
At that time. Oh, naku,
Yeah.
ang ganda nito kasi pati love affair maka-cover natin dito. Talaga. Oh, and then, what happened? So, when did
And
you
then
get married? I mean, love affair muna, no? And then, when did
Yeah.
you get married?
2014. 2014 po.
2014. Bali, ano lang tayo? 6 plus, ano,
7
20,
years.
7 years. Wow, 7 year each. Talagang, ano, dedicated. Mo, pati sa interview kay Melissa, kasama si Mayor Len. Binabantayan ni Mayor Len si Melissa para ano, at the same time, Melissa is also making bantay kay Mayor Len. But anyway, I just for Mayor Len, um, Tesoreta was also a good friend. In fact, I would visit her in her ano ba tawag dito? In her office sa may Mabini. And we traveled together to Geneva dahil siya ang representative ng Congress at that time when we went to Geneva. Anyway, that's outside. Ngayon, ang istorya ngayon is about education. And this is why Dr. Arcega was supposed to introduce today the educational system plus yung mga resource persons for the whole month of November. Lahat mga nagrarun ng school, ang lahat may mga advocacies about school. Now, in the case of Malabon, meron din akong trivia tungkol sa Malabon. Diyan ako nag-aral mag-drive ng pagdadrive dahil may uncle ako nakatira sa Grace Park. Trivia ito pero natutuwa ako na nagkataon na maikukwento ko din. So, ang dinadrive ko, yung owner na jeep, doon namiikot kami sa elliptical road, no? Doon sa Quezon City. And I learned driving in one day. Tapos sabi ko nga, ay uuwi na ako kasi nakatira ako sa Parañaque. Tapos immediately, I learned, kasi ang nagturo, isang driver mechanic. Magaling, wala nang school. Ngayon, ang mahal-mahal naman yung sinisingil para to go to a driving school. Magbabayad ka ng registration, etc. But that's beside the point. Pero memorable sa akin ng Malabon dahil may uncle ako at may auntie ako nakatira doon. At doon, ang daming in-check doon sa area sa Grace Park. Di ba? Maraming, mostly mga Chinese doon sa Grace Park. Now, I move na to education. Kailan nagsimula ang school ninyo, Melissa? When did you start the school? Can you hear? Hindi mo siya marinig?
Oh, 1994. Yeah,
1994.
1994.
City College.
It started as Malabon City College. Yes.
Oh, I see. Kasi usually, pag local government, it becomes parang city college muna. And then you expand. Di ba? Na kailan na move to become, what is it now? Is it ano ba tawag dito?
It's a
University na ba
po.
tawag? Ha?
Opo, City of Malabon.
pangalan
City of
niya?
Malabon.
City
of
of
Malabon
Malabon.
University.
University. City o CMU. Tama?
Yes,
CMU,
opo.
yun ang initials. Kailangan ma-memorize yung initials kasi baka makalimutan ko, mali ang sabihin ko eh. Baka maging CUM. Yung pala CMU. Pero that was created by virtue of a law in Malabon, di ba? City government.
Opo.
So,
Ordinance po.
si
Yes.
Mayor Len na. Mayor Len ka na noon, hindi pa. You were still vice mayor at that time.
Hindi pa po, this was before me pa po. It became a university before me pa po. So, naging city. So, this was a couple years back, sa mga 2000, I think, 2001.
Ba matagal na rin. Kung 2001, 21 years na. Di ba? Is it a big school? Marami.
No, actually,
I mean,
it became 2001. Ano po?
2001.
Opo.
Is that correct? O 2001.
It became a university.
Yes, and therefore the courses are already broader, parang mas malawak. kesa City
Opo.
College. Am I correct?
Yes, yes.
Oo. Kasi sa Parañaque, sinimulan nila ganun din, Parañaque City College. And then they also had an attachment with PUP. Para ang PUP, yung faculty doon, yun ang nagtuturo. But later on, nag-expand. We also have a Parañaque, pero hindi kami university. Parañaque City College pa ngayon. Kaya lang, walang eskwela, ginawang para sa sa COVID. COVID isolation. Ginawa COVID isolation. Minaximize ang place kasi naman sayang magpapagawa ka pa ng building, di ba? So I guess the
Opo.
question is, budget-wise, siyempre the local government provides, the city government provides the funding. On the subject of funding, how much do you allocate annually to the city government, to the university? You have a budget for that?
80 million.
Opo, actually, with the help of Unifast, na may minimize yung dependence sa LGU, sa local government unit. So, I think now we're supplying them mga 80 million.
Wow. Saan ang gagaling ang pondo? Sa national? O sa...
No, Unifast.
Sa
Unifast. Opo. Because, di ba, ngayon po, libre na lahat ng colleges, ng universities, free education.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
it's subsidized now. So, it's not all the LGU. It's with the help of National. So, malaking bagay po yung Unifast.
So, parang easygoing. Ibig sabihin, hindi masyadong mahirap dahil hindi burden sa local government. Mostly.
Yes. Yes. Ma'am.
At saka ang mangyayari, libre. Libre ang mga
Opo.
estudyante, di ba?
Opo.
Libre na lahat. Oo, kaya
But,
sabi ko nga, anong sistema ninyo?
Hindi, yun po kailangan ingatan kasi yung mga bata, they take it for granted. So, kailangan pumapasok sila, natututo sila because madaming mga bata ngayon, hindi na pwedeng pabagsak-bagsak lang and they expect to be there all the time.
Correct. Correct ka dyan. Sabihin, total, libre naman. Kahit pumasok o hindi pumasok, walang mali eh. In fact, I'm sorry, pero I'm really against yung libre. Gusto ko, libre sa mga scholars. Yung nagpakita. In other words, pag naka-maintain ka ng certain average, libre ka, pati mga gastos ng because you owe it to them. In fact, as far as I know, yung pamantasan ng lungsod ng Maynila, I had also not a problem, para they only got the best. They did not allow everybody to just enroll like that. And that is also the European way. Dahil libre, pag ikaw bright, pag hindi ka bright, mga trade courses ang kukunin. Of course, ang iba ayaw kasi ang daming nag-aaral ng mag-abogado, kahit na 6 years nang hindi nakakapasa sa bar, interesado pa rin maging abogado. Love nila maging abogado. Ang feeling ko nga, nagiging abogado pag ganon. Pinipilitan ng sarili na mag-abogado. Pardon yung mga nagtatry ngayon, talagang best effort. Meron akong social worker, by the way, nagtrabaho sa Red Cross under me, tapos nung malaman ko, nag-aral ng law, ay ngayon magbabar sa November. Ang sabi ko, ang offer, sa November may bar, no? Sabi ko,
Wala po,
sige,
na-move. Next year.
Ha?
Na-move
Na-move,
to
hindi
January.
natuloy ng November.
Po, next year na po.
January po, na-move.
Nako. Hindi. Okay lang. Ready na siya. Kaya sabi ko, sa tagal mong pagre-review kasi he did not take the bar yung previous year na dapat nag-bar na siya. Sabi niya, kasi ma'am, hindi pa ako ready. Ngayon, ready ka na ba? Sabi niya, siguro, hindi, ipagdadasal ka na lang kita, sabi ko. Kasi ang dasal ko, mas matibay kesa sa pagre-review mo. Dadasalan na lang kita para kapapasa. Naniniwala ako dun eh. Anyway, that's me. So, ito pa yung mga nag-like para masabi sa inyo maraming nakikinig, Rosalie Tirante, Susan Labsang, Joey Ortiz. Sabi, good afternoon po, watching from La Union. Si Elmpin, good afternoon po. Si Domsky Domingo, mabuhay, City of Malabon University. And of course, watching from City of Malabon, si Elmpin. Siguro ito mga kakilala nyo. Pero
Opo.
alam nyo, itong programa nito, kilala nyo lahat ito, nakikinig nanonood, sabihin mo sa kanila na ano, na how big is your faculty or administration ng university?
Our faculty is about 218 faculty members, but both full-time and part-time. And then administrative employees, 7.
So, meron din kayong mga ano tinatawag working students, wala na. Wala na kayong working students.
Meaning they work for the school or they work elsewhere?
Hindi, working student para mag-earn extra, may mga functions sa university na pwedeng magtrabaho
yes.
sila. Meron ba?
Opo.
Oo.
May program yung student assistance program, tapos PES.
Student assistant. Oo,
Program.
student assistant. Oo.
Opo.
Kasi, kaya ako naman tinatanong yon very often. Maraming yung mga talagang interesadong matuto but at the same time walang pera. Maganda yung may opportunities na ganyan kasi they're able to work na i-strengthen yung kanilang industry dahil pag masipag maganda ang attitude. Oo. Now, how are you situated naman this coming elections, preparing the people, yung mga 18 years old, na-register ba lahat? Yung mga...
We encourage them po to register, most of them, kasi especially ang sinasabi namin kasi Unifast beneficiary sila eh. It's their obligation to vote. Kumbaga scholar sila ng bayan. Oh, that's what Unifast is.
Yes, tama.
Yes.
Oo. In addition to that, naniniwala ko, siguro what you can do is share mo nyo sa akin, share ninyo yung mga breakthroughs ninyo sa university, yung mga nagawa ninyo na mga other universities may not be doing. Yung kalakasan ng inyong university. Kasi alam ko na proud si Dr. Raymond Arcega, kaya siguro siya hindi sumipot ngayon. Kitang-kita ang bias niya for Malabon. Si MU.
Yeah, Ma'am Cora, I'll share lang kasi nagka-pandemic, we had this e-nanay program wherein yung mga faculty natin sa City of Malabon University along with the senior students, sila ay nag-adopt ng mga nanay sa isang public school at tinuruan yung mga to help kids. Hirap yung online classes eh. So, ang laking bagay yun kasi mga nanay, ito na nga, yung mga nanay ngayon, balik eskwela for their kids. So, ang laking bagay, mas natuto yung mga bata. So, yun, I'm very proud of. We did this last year at nagbunga. Kasi madami ng eskwelahan na sumali. And then, in fact, the DepEd, kinopia yung programa. So,
model. Alam mo, I also, when I was in the civil service, I started the Spirit of 100 Hours, a gift of time, encouraging government workers to volunteer sa community. Kasi, hindi naman lahat kailangan swelduhan eh. Kung mga 2 hours once a week, magbo-volunteer. Nung araw nga, sa St. Paul kami, sa elementary school eh. Kami naglilinis, janitor, kahit isa lang janitor eh. Kami nagwawalis, kami naglilinis ng mga lamesa. Ganun talaga ang kailangan. So, in short, nakita ko, ano mga courses? If somebody will ask me, Ma'am, taga Malabon ako, gusto kong mag-aral, at sabihin ko, ano pwede mong pag-aralan? What courses are, kumbaga, in demand sa Malabon?
Actually, ang pupuno namin yung criminology at saka po, of course, everybody wants to become an accountant. I don't know why, Secretary Alma, but we try to explain na ang daming magandang courses in College of Business and Accountancy. Like, little do they realize that human resource managers are actually very much in demand. And it opens so many doors, but they don't like it. So parang for them, ang sakit ng loob nila pag natatanggap sila sa HRM. So we try to shape their minds na napakaganda ng HRM.
They think it's a nothing course. Parang HR, parang di ba? Personnel. Walang puro problema yan, di ba? Oo. Pero alam mo, worry din ako na ang gusto nilang course, criminology. Baka maging criminal sila at hindi ma-solve ang criminality. Baging at nalaman nila ang modus operandi ng mga kriminal. I'm glad you mentioned that kasi alam mo, si President Digong, 3 lang ang sinabi ng gagawin niya. Droga, criminality, corruption. Sa 3 bagay na yon, ano yung nakita mo improvement sa Malabon? Yan. That's a good question. To honor President Digong naman din.
I think Mayor Len was aggressive with the the program against drugs.
Actually, sa 21 barangays po, Sec Alma, 20 na clear na natin. So hopefully this
Yes.
year or early next year, ma-clear natin in one remaining barangay.
Siguro worry ko yung sino yung barangay na yun na worry nyo pa. Baka dapat palipat nyo na sa Navotas yun para hindi naman nadagdag sa inyo. Joke only. Baka magalit ang mayor na Navotas. Anyway, so yung mga courses na yun, mabili in a way. Yung mabili yung...
Pinakamarami po yung teacher education. So it's a very big
yes.
population. Information technology. Ang dami pong
computer kasi. Na-provide nyo ba ng mga bata ng mga computers? Kasi di ba, school at home di ba? Were you able to provide them the equipment?
No, they were given pocket Wi-Fi with load. Tapos, what we did, for those na challenge sa gadgets, pwede sila mag-schedule sa library kasi sa library merong ready desktop at saka mas malakas yung Wi-Fi sa school.
So doon sila napupunta. Do they have to go to the library?
Opo. At saka na-increase po namin yung Mbps. Yeah. So Mayor Len is investing in more computer laboratories para sa university. Kasi kahit may pocket Wi-Fi, baka wala silang proper internet connection din. Or even with the proper gadgets. So,
kami nga dito, pag nasira yung internet connection, wala, phone patch ka na lang, walang retrato, walang problema. Anyway, we have how many minutes? My 8 sets, 4 minutes pa tayo. Bibigyan ko kayo ng tig 1 minute para what future do you want to see sa university? And of course, kay Mayor, finishing, ano yung gusto mong future mo paglabas mo sa when you are no longer mayor? Bukod sa mag-travel siguro, baka magpasyal naman sa ibang bansa, di ba? Dapat lang. Sige. Si President Melissa muna. Mas mataas pala rank mo, President Melissa.
Siya pa rin yung boss. Siya po yung chairman of the board Siya pa rin yung boss.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Siguro what we want to see with education, marami nagsasabi to always deliver quality education. Parati nagsasabi, would like to see to be a number 1 university. But I guess in City of Malabon University, one of the things na ina-advocate namin is transformational education. So parati namin sinasabi sa lahat ng faculty, we don't aspire to become number 1. We don't aspire to become the best university, but a transformational experience for every student. Kasi sometimes, when they enter the school, limitado ang kanilang panaginip. So basically, we want to show them to be big. Correct. Yeah. So we want to show them and expand para sa ganon, they reach their fullest potential. So I think, yun lang. Education kasi became so competitive parating number 1, kung sinong best. We want to veer away from that. So parang kami, it's a transformational tool for it. Parang feeling namin that's how we can contribute sa nation building at saka sa progress talaga ng bansa. If we can really transform every student that entered the school to be ethical, like lalo na yung accountants namin, lalo na yung teachers, di ba? To learn volunteerism. So it's really more character building and value formation. So that's how we want to see it. Na education is a transformational experience and not just a compliance for the diploma. So that's basically how we want to see it.
Also, Sec Alma, I would like to add, because ang tagline natin sa City of Malabon University is local flavor, global future. So we want our students to have jobs after. Kasi that's the bottom line naman. Kailangan may papagkakitahan. Kailangan may trabaho after. So that's our goal, to hopefully they get jobs right after, because we're we're really investing in human capital. At this is what we can offer to the students. So yun talaga, kailangan marunong sila mag-isip para kunin sila ng mga kumpanya, multinationals hopefully. And hindi lang starting pay, no? Baka mas mataas pa sana. So yun talaga yung goal, and that's why we're transforming the university. In fact, we got a lot of industry practitioners, sa mga part-time teachers natin. So daming kilala, and they come from different schools na kilalang schools. So hopefully that would help our students, no, to broaden their horizon, na hindi lang lahat nagre-revolve around Malabon. They have to branch out. Kasi I was lucky because I studied in Japan for undergrad, and si Melissa nga studied in Switzerland. Nakapag-aral kami abroad. So mas malawak yung pagtingin namin sa edukasyon. And we want to copy the best practices from different areas para lang to ma-apply dito sa City of Malabon University. Kaya yun ang pinagmamalaki namin, transformational ang pagpasok ngayon dito. Opo.
Watching from Barangay San Agustin, Realin Maduntalan, watching from CMU, Alec Javier E. Santos, watching from City of Malabon, Realin, ayun ang pagbasa ko na. And then Sunshine Ibong Tabora, watching from CMU, Jeram Arellano, watching from CMU, Jocelyn T. Del Rosario, watching from CMU, Jude Lekay, Lex Saya or something, watching from City of Malabon, and then of course Charm Alia, and then Jazz Roque Parado, June Alejo, hindi ko na alam. Then si by Kim Aimee. Ito yung parting words na lang, ano, itong quotation ko from Rabindranath Tagore. I think swak na swak sa inyo. Where mind is without fear and head held high, where the world has not been broken to fragments by narrow domestic walls, where tireless striving stretch their arms towards perfection, where the mind is led forward to thee into ever-widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. Medyo ginising nyo din ako, no? Kasi akala ko hindi kayo darating kung ano-ano binasa ko dito sa libro ko. Pero finally, ang final word ko, I am only one, but I am one. I cannot do everything, but I can do something. And what I can do, I ought to do. And by the grace of God, I will do. Mabuhay kayong dalawa. Ang maganda yung partnership nyo, and looking forward to visiting your school sometime.
Oh, please. Thank you, Kalma. Hello, Tita Sonia Boko.